Our minds are just so weird. It's crazy, and like they're so powerful, and they can make us feel happiness and they can make us feel sadness, but it can be a lot.
Hello, high school students. My name is Hari Kundabolu. I'm a comedian, an actor, and unfortunately at times a human being who feels all kinds of emotions that I constantly need to work through. So I got a group of students together for a few days and we talked about emotions. What are they exactly? And why do we have them? And what are we supposed to do when we feel them?
That's a big one.
I would say a feeling is something in your soul that you know.
You know, as you get older, you develop more feelings to kind of describe who you are. I think feelings are a way of expressing ourselves that we didn't even know we had.
And when it comes to intense feelings, it turns out I am not alone.
You feel every emotion in the book.
Annoyed.
Anxiety.
Nervousness. Kind of worn out.
Stress.
Anger.
Disappointed.
I think every week there's definitely a bit of overwhelmment. I don't think that's a word.
When we feel emotions, we can often be feeling a mix of more than one.
Anger and frustration and sadness, they all just coincide to one bodily reaction. So it's like, I mostly just get frustrated and then like something small happens and then it's just waterworks.
It just felt so nice. It just felt like freedom. Like, oh my gosh, I did it.
Like, I like this person a lot, but they did like some ill stuff. I was angry, but I still liked them. Like, I still had feelings for them, and I was angry at the fact that I had feelings for them.
I just can't get over, even now, like, just how sad and mad I felt. Why did I have to cry that hard in class? Sometimes you make a sound when you cry. I almost started just going...
I tend not to cry when things that are typically sad happen. I worry that people are like, man, this guy can't even get attached for like his grandma. Like that's really suspicious. I can't trust this individual.
So, why do we have these feelings? As much as they can be annoying or overwhelming, they communicate useful information to ourselves and everybody around us. Often, our bodies know how we're feeling way before we understand it.
The euphoria felt like as if there were like little fairies just like going through my body. They're just like, and you're okay. You're okay. You're okay.
I think you like feel like pride or like excitement here. Like I think there's actually like maybe like a glow or something in your chest that you can feel.
I was so angry, I was shaking.
My heart was pounding and I was like spinning in my head and I was getting hot and I was getting sweaty and I was like hyperventilating and I didn't know why.
I guess it's more like a feeling in my stomach. It's the equivalent of like two bunnies hopping down the road.
These physical sensations can be a lot. But when this happens, a good first step is to take a deep breath and just observe what's happening in your body. Then label the emotions or multiple emotions that are happening. Maybe notice to yourself what level of intensity it is on a scale of 1 to 10.
They range from like 5 to like 10 sometimes. During tests, it's 11.
I feel like I can, label the feelings that I'm feeling pretty early on, early enough to where I can say, hey, I feel a not so good feeling coming.
I'm really good at knowing my emotions. I'm not very good at expressing them. Because I was like, you know what, like I'm dealing with it. I'm doing it on my own. But now I'm like, you know what, it's good to like tell people how you feel. And like, if the person who's making you feel bad doesn't know they're making you feel bad, they can't fix anything.
After you label your emotion, you might still be feeling it. But by labeling it for yourself, you can help understand what might be going on. And then you can explain your emotion to other people and then have even deeper relationships with them. Ideally, the goal is to have a life where you feel a broad range of emotions, understand what they are, how they're affecting you, and learn how to deal with them. Hey, I'm your host, Hari Kundabolu. In this video, we're going to be talking about self-care and relaxation skills. Listen, sometimes anxiety can sneak up in really intense ways, like when you're presenting in front of class or when you're waiting for a person you like to text you back. The problem is, our alarm system can go off even if there isn't really any danger present.
I noticed that many things set me off, like the temperature might be too hot.
Don't touch my food.
I don't know, it could literally be the slightest thing, like doing my makeup and I smudge it all over my face and I have to restart.
Like with the way people chew, oh my goodness. Tests, I think. I'm a really bad test taker.
I had like a gov test on Thursday, on Thursday, and then a math test on Friday, along with an English test on Friday, along with an essay I also had to write for English on Friday because I had missed it earlier.
Me trying to navigate all of my classes and time management and to get enough time to work on college applications and work on narrowing down my college list, which I've been doing for like a month.
Because it's just like, I'm a high schooler, I'm in high school, and then you get to senior year. Deadlines are due this, this date is due, and it's like, ugh.
I don't know how to apply to college, so it's definitely difficult.
It can be intense, and that's because our bodies are hardwired to respond to dangerous situations with 3 responses: freeze, fight, or my personal favorite, flight. I love to run away. It's the way our bodies have evolved to keep us safe and alive, and it's no joke.
I start hyperventilating. I feel like I can't breathe, like I literally can't breathe.
I usually blank mid-test about where this accent is supposed to go or how to spell this word.
I get very, very panicky, and I can feel it coming on a mile away because it'll start in my stomach and just keep rapid firing all the way up until I'm like having a panic attack.
It always gets better, but it definitely sucks in the moment.
For decades, psychologists have been studying what we can do when our body starts to hit us with really intense feelings. And the answer?
Breathing helps me, like, calm down from anything.
Usually I'll just take a breath.
Take the biggest breath I can, just in, and then take a really deep breath out.
Just like slow, deep breaths.
Inhale and exhale just slowly a few times.
I see like the breath coming into my body and then exiting my body.
I know what you're thinking. I breathe all the time. I know how to breathe. I'm breathing right now. But breathing, much like running with a backpack, is more complicated than you might think. It turns out some breathing is more helpful than others.
I just kind of do it, maybe like 3 or 4 at a time.
I like slowly catch my breath and like breathe like slowly, and it definitely helps. It calms it all the way down.
It can be helpful to practice these relaxation strategies even when you're feeling calm. Put one hand on your stomach and one hand on your chest. Slowly breathe in and expand your belly like a balloon, and then slowly breathe out and feel the balloon deflate. You'll feel your body begin to relax as you continue to take slow, paced breaths. Make sure to breathe into your belly, not your chest, and go slow. Try to breathe in your nose for 4 seconds and out your mouth for 6. And if you have a calm place you like to imagine, just go there in your mind.
You have this place in your mind and you memorize it and you're able to just go there. Like right now, I'm sitting here and I can like see it.
I start in my grandmother's apartment. It smells like cookies, the duplex ones where it's like one vanilla cookie and one chocolate cookie and the cream in the middle.
Got my bookcase over here, one of those like deer heads. I don't know why. I don't even like that, but it kind of just was there when I got here. But it's vegan. Definitely it's vegan.
In the garage, there's like a door. It sounds like the swish of like swishy pants because there's like a plastic thing underneath it to keep bugs and stuff out.
And then you have this beautiful green meadow outside of this window and this like really edgy gothic castle just over here living its life.
And that's it. So if you're ever feeling completely overwhelmed by your anxiety or any strong emotion, just breathe.
You know, I used to ask my brother for advice on text messages all the time, but he got so annoyed. Like, Reagan, stop overthinking. And I'm like, they stopped using emojis. Are they mad at me? And then I'll be tempted to ask, but like, I don't know. I don't want to overthink it, but I am. So then I would ask my brother, do you think they're mad because they're not using emojis in their sentences anymore? They just stopped using emojis. Like, I was completely overthinking it.
Okay, we're gonna get a little existential here and talk about thinking. Our thoughts are completely imaginary, but also very real. And at any time in your life, your thoughts can be negative. And those negative thoughts tend to set in during middle and high school. And we've all been there.
Sometimes I think everything's gonna be all bad. I only have negative thoughts.
I think about a lot about my relationship to other people.
What if no colleges accept me, you know?
Am I gonna mess up?
Oh my God, you mess that up. Like, look at you go again.
Am I actually a certain way and I'm just perceiving myself wrong?
What if, like, I tore my ACL and I never could dance again?
What if someone else worked harder for this but didn't get it?
My parents are gone for like 10 more minutes. I'm like, dude, what if they got in a crash? What if they got robbed? What if they got stolen? What if I got here and robbers already took over my house? Maybe they don't like me anymore and they kind of abandoned me and moved out of the country. Maybe they just left me. Then I get all like depressed because I'm like, oh, there's no people, nobody likes me. And that's a hard thought to like kick.
There are so many versions of overthinking. At their best, our thoughts are brilliant and lead to changing the world and making great art or the invention of the ice cream sandwich. But often, they pop up and make it hard for us to be present when we're in the middle of doing something.
My parents always tell me, you overthink.
Do you ever have that moment where it's like after a conversation, you just realize, oh, I could have done this or done it this way?
And one voice is telling you to worry about every little thing, things that you shouldn't be worrying about. And then one voice is telling you to not care about anything. And those two voices are really competing with each other. And then it's just like, I don't know what to do.
Like with feelings, your thoughts are there to protect you from things that might happen in the future. But they can also get out of control. Even though we don't fully understand where thoughts come from, we know there are ways that you can practice managing your thoughts.
I like to cry because I feel like crying is good for you.
Don't let this take control of you. It's a monster that is this big, but you make it seem this big.
Like all these thoughts are just like surging through my mind. In retrospect, they seem very minuscule. And then I realized I was like stressing over nothing.
So, when it comes to our own thoughts, there are three important things to remember. They're not always facts, they are temporary, and you can change them. Be on the lookout for classic negative thought patterns that everyone experiences, like taking things personally or thinking in worst-case scenarios.
I definitely overthink what I eat, you know, what's too much, what's too little, when I should just eat until I feel satisfied and then not like, you know, worry about that too much.
Self-love is so hard because it's like, well, they love themselves, so like, why can't I love myself? Like, I don't get it. And it's like, okay, yeah, but I think I should like myself before I like move all the way to love.
I definitely used to not be good at changing my thoughts. I just have to reassure myself and, you know, go to my close friends and be like, hey, I'm having this thought. Please help me out. It overpowers it, kind of, when you hear from someone else saying, like, you are loved, you're accepted, I love you, you know. Hearing that from someone that you care about it can change anything.
So if you ever find yourself falling into a thinking trap or getting lost in your own thoughts, the first step is always to notice the thoughts you're thinking. Remember, they are not facts. Like for me, an unhelpful thought I have a lot is that I'm not very good at ending videos. I think I need to be funny or smart or cool, when in reality, there's nothing that I really have to do. It's gonna be totally fine. The video will just end on its own. Does it end? At some point in your life, and maybe it has happened already, or maybe it will happen sometime in the future, you will feel an emotion very intensely, and it might feel overwhelming. These kinds of intense emotions and big feelings can be triggered by major life events, both the kind you plan for and the kind you don't expect.
If I get like a B, like I'm very disappointed in myself.
There was like this like talent kind of talent showcase thing that I was doing. And I ended up having to quit it because I just couldn't do it. And I was so ashamed and so distraught, and I was so just mad at myself. And I had to dismiss myself from class and go to the nurse's office. And I was like, I just need to lay down for like 20 minutes. And I was in there for like an hour, and I just sobbed my eyes out. It was crazy.
I went to school and I remember I was walking to the attendance office and I immediately saw one of my friends and I tried to mutter out the words that my grandma was gone, and I broke down immediately. I struggled a lot with anxiety and so many things after that it was like I didn't know where I was going. And it felt like a dark cloud was looming over my head and I couldn't really do anything to push it away.
I hope you'll remember that there are lots of people around you who have been right where you are. When you experience these heavy emotions, it can feel like you're so full of feelings that you need to do something.
I cry, but not because I'm sad, just because of anxiety. I start tearing up and I'm like, you're not gonna cry. It's okay. Why are you doing this?
If I have a disagreement or a fight with someone, I immediately get anxious because I'm like, what did I do? And I think that's why it makes me confrontational.
This guy, I really have no idea why he did this. I don't even think we were in the same class. I just know he was at the school, and every time he walked up to a certain group of people and he would say, you owe me $4.3 million. This made my blood boil so much. It wasn't like he was bullying me while doing it. It wasn't like he was doing anything physical. But that series of words, that particular sentence, just threw me into a rage.
I get really sad. I'll be bawling my eyes out, and I don't really know. I cry, and it usually goes away. Then I usually want ice cream, which I always
I would think I'd feel just so sad, kind of, and grieved, but I was frustrated and angry.
These urges can feel all-consuming. But here's the good news. Your body often can't keep up with that level of intensity for too long. No feeling lasts forever, even if you feel like it will. And if we can ride out these big emotions like a wave, their intensity will decrease over time.
Sometimes I would make a list and I would check it off, and then I would leave the list at home and I would get in the car and I couldn't remember if I brought that thing or not, if I checked that one object off that was item that was really important. And I started freaking out and thinking of the consequences that were gonna happen if I didn't have that item. And I was like, oh my God. I would think to myself, that was ridiculous. I need to calm down. It wasn't gonna be the end of the world if I didn't have that item. But it really was weird for me because it was literally nothing, but it felt like everything to me.
One strategy to ride the wave of these feelings is to focus on a sensory experience that will help tie you to the world around you. For example,
I'll usually listen to music, typically rap.
Eat a lemon. That also works sometimes.
Any soundtrack, that just gets me in the best mood. And 1930s music, yeah, a little old soul, but 1930s music really gets to me, and I'm like, oh, everything's all good. I'm happy now. It's all good.
My body just is happy when I eat spicy food is the best way I can describe it.
When you can smell a stream, that is one of my favorite. Water, being able to smell water in the air, and being able to smell that there's animals nearby, or smelling where there's water.
Usually my outlet would be reading, because at least I can focus on one thing. I can focus on being able to be immersed into something else.
Looking at pictures of your family, listening to music you enjoy, tasting some comfort food, smelling perfume or a candle. All these things can help you ride out overwhelming emotions.
I think dance is like kind of my escape. That seems like very cheesy, but it genuinely is. Especially improv. I think you can just like let all your emotions free. No one's judging you. You can do whatever you want.
Also, when you're feeling something very intensely, it can help to force yourself to go out and do stuff. Like take a walk, hang out with your friends, kick a soccer ball, that kind of thing. The most important thing is to be patient with yourself and see what works for you. My newest strategy is to paint pictures of horses in important business meetings. Mindfulness is the practice of paying attention on purpose to the present moment without judgment. Right now, I am practicing by focusing all my attention on eating this orange, without rushing, and bringing my attention to every detail of the experience. The feeling of the skin as I peel it, the brilliant orange color of the peel next to the pale yellowy color of the pith, the soft ripping sound as I slowly remove the skin from rest of the fruit, the bright citrusy smell that fills the room as it opens, the burst of flavor as I chomp down on a slice. Now, I know some of you are thinking, that guy has a weird relationship with oranges. And also that the word mindfulness might sound a little new agey and corny.
Sitting there and breathing, oh come on, that's not fun at all. How are you gonna get amused by that? Personally, I never got the whole meditation thing. I'm like, is that something I'd really consider? But if it works for people, I think, why not try something new?
Whether you call it mindfulness or not, there is something helpful about trying to see what's all around us. Because left on their own, our minds tend to wander into the past or the future, and our thoughts can feel very hard to control.
I don't know. I guess I'm just so like focused on just getting through the day that I'm not really thinking of like living that day.
Sometimes I'll be like, am I doing something that I need to right now? Or am I just on my phone because I have nothing else to do? Or I just am bored. And I have these people in my life that are present with me. Let me actually be present with them instead of just on social media.
My mind may wander off, but whenever I notice my mind is elsewhere, I try to return it back to the present moment. That may sound really simple, but don't confuse being simple with being easy.
I'll be sitting in math class and I'll be thinking about literally anything else, or I'll be sitting in my English class and I'm thinking about math, and it's just anything that distracts me, anything going on in my life, home life, friends. Oh, what am I gonna do this weekend? What am I going to do then? Or what am I gonna do now? And it's just like, I feel like my head is on overdrive like a lot of the time, and it's kind of hard to reel that in.
Sometimes I feel like I'm focusing too much on what am I going to do in the future, like long term, over what can I do right now. And I don't really know which one I should think about more. Because if I only focus on now, what am I going to do in the future? But if I only focus on the future, am I ever going to get to it?
When you practice mindfulness, you might not really even feel the process working. But if you practice mindfulness often enough, you might notice a subtle shift, maybe in feeling more present with yourself, the people you love, and the feelings you're having.
Sometimes I do meditations with my crystals.
I just look up a guided meditation and I'm like, hey, I need a meditation to help me love myself. And they're like, I got you.
Like when I talk to my friends and stuff, I feel like I'm really present. I'm listening to them and they're listening to me. But maybe when I'm like trying to get my schoolwork done, I may be worrying about things that I shouldn't be worrying about, like things that are gonna happen or already happened, when I should really just be focusing on doing my work. So then, and kind of just, riles me up and gets me anxious about something that happened in the past and I can't change the past, if you know what I mean.
I might not always feel calm and relaxed when I'm practicing mindfulness, but that's okay. That's actually kind of the point. Simply paying attention to how you feel is being mindful. And just like exercise or learning the tuba, mindfulness is a practice. You can do it while eating, or at swim practice, or on the bus. It can also happen anytime you're doing something that fully keeps you engaged.
Slacklining, first of all, please start slacklining. When you start, you just like need to keep going and you need to keep yourself calm and you can't like attack it. I think that was my form of meditation. Like just being up in the air and like be present in the moment as the wind's pushing you around. It just feels like zen. It feels so amazing.
I feel like when I am in the present is when I'm on stage performing something. I've done musical theater my whole life, so whenever I'm like actively performing, I definitely think that like that's when I'm like in the present. You know, I'm not thinking about anything else except for whatever I'm performing.
There are many ways to practice mindfulness, but they all have the same goal: to bring yourself as fully as you can to the present moment. Fully immersing yourself in the sights, the sounds, the feelings you're feeling, the people around you, even the host of the video you're watching. Go ahead, be here with me. How's my hair look today? Okay, now back to my oranges. This may take a while.